Hello, welcome back to another episode of Financial Fix with Sharnella. Today I'm going to be interviewing a young man. He's 23 years old. I'll be getting a financial perspective from him because I want to understand a little bit more about how the youth view the financial situation and circumstances that they're under in this day and age. So I want to say thank you for being here. And, my daughter has already given me her perspective. She's 23 as well.
Hmm.
And from your perspective, we met at a investment group meeting.
Right.
And I like the fact that you are on the entrepreneurial path. And so I'd like for you to explain to me why you feel the way that you feel, why you ended up quitting your job at the age of 23. You really haven't worked long. Many people in my generation, we work 20, 30 years before we decide that we want to give up on work. But
Right.
I'd just like to understand from your perspective, what made you decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to stay at home and keep my expenses low so that I can then pursue what I really would like to pursue, something that, makes me happy.
Got it. Well, first things first, pleasure being here.
Hmm.
I'm not really the greatest at interviews, so we're gonna kind of wing through this. So
Yeah,
however
that's,
it goes,
hey, yeah.
it's fine. Regards to why I took this journey and path. I just had this feeling that there was more I could be doing,
Hmm.
and with my time with the world, and I had more of an impact.
Hmm.
And I realized like in my day-to-day jobs, like I wasn't really like able to like commit or like do the things I wanted to do and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And
Hmm.
I haven't really thought about this to like a long extent, so I don't have an absolutely like perfect like sentence to kind of convey
Hmm.
about like why I stopped working at my job. But the main motivation was like I could do more, and I saw kind of like the ceiling of the job, like how much
Yeah.
I could do, and also realized like where it could be, and just kind of it became like a natural journey in a sense.
Hmm.
Like I was like, I feel like there's more to do. What's like the most successful thing? Like what's the thing out there? And my sources kind of came from real estate. Um, I started like most other people. I somehow came across Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Yeah.
and that kind of opened my eyes a little bit more to like, there's more I could be doing.
Hmm.
Um, so I had savings. I kind of just sensed like it was my time, so I just kind of wingingly quit and to see how it went. I had about like $4,000 or $5,000 in my savings to kind of like figure things out, and I didn't like know what I was doing yet. So after finishing like some personal projects and stuff, I decided to like go towards real estate, figure out what works for me. Initially going in to be a buy and hold investor,
Hmm.
and then realizing the amount of capital that you need to acquire those type of properties, like you couldn't really just get into that.
Hmm.
And so I just kind of went down the totem pole. I saw fixing and flipping as an option. I didn't know enough about the investment side of things, like the costs and whatnot. And so basically, after kind of going down it and just talking to different people, different mentors, different people who've done different things, and I've been through all types of different people who focus on things like the Airbnb investors, buy and hold investors, fix and flip investors, and eventually at the bottom, wholesalers, like those type of people. And what's going to be interesting is when I first saw wholesaling and wholesalers, they seemed kind of like artificial people,
Hmm.
kind of like people who just kind of like had this big personality, these loud, obnoxious, and that's the different people that I was like, I don't want to be one.
Yeah.
But then after coming across like a certain like mentor and the different ways of doing things, I realized that this is a great way to start in the real estate, understand all the costs, and build my
Hmm.
way back up.
Exactly.
Because I'm right into the mix of doing things. I get to talk more, and then it allows me to be more learn things. Because like fixing and flipping, like if you didn't know it, it's a very expensive mistake if you don't get things right. It could
Exactly.
really go wrong.
Exactly.
Whereas wholesale, there's a lot less risk because there's people looking over you for different things. There's people who can tell you what's going on as well, and it's also just an easy, smaller version because you're also not tapered to these different projects.
Hmm.
So you're not personally working on like these 3 months, 6 months projects just to get like your capital back. And if you're not in a good financial position, that could really like not work out well. So wholesaling allows you to get into their beginning. But
Exactly.
coming back on, I guess finances and things, just like
Now you
how
said something very important. Sorry to interrupt.
all good.
Very important. And you said you had about 4 to 5 thousand in savings.
Mm-hmm.
Most young people, I would venture to say, spend their money frivolously on, I would say, emotional purchases.
Right.
Oh, I like this, I'll buy it. I want that, I'll buy it.
Right.
They're not necessarily savers.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we had an opportunity to get to know each other, you kind of helped me with some editing of videos and things like that. We got a chance to really understand each other a little bit more.
Right.
I thought, wow, this young man really, he is thinking in a way that most young people don't think. It's a mature form of thinking. And you knew that, okay, if I want to quit my job, I can't just quit it on the spot. I have to have a plan of some sort. Maybe you didn't have, everything laid out from A to Z, but you
Hmm.
knew that you needed to have some savings in the bank. You knew that it would be more beneficial for you to stay at home rather than, getting out on your own.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because there's a lot of young people out there who, when they turn 18 or 19, 20, they're like, oh man, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Right.
I just want to have my own place. But what are the downfalls to having your own place as opposed to staying at home?
Well, the downfalls of having your own place, I mean, there's pros and cons to each thing. One of the biggest downfalls is you are responsible for everything in the house and you're by yourself. And if you can afford it, you have the money to do it, it's no big deal. But right now, the current day is like June 27th, right?
Hmm.
The average like cost of owning things is like 1,300, 2,000. That's not
Yeah.
including food, tax, transportation, all types of different things. And it's just a really expensive investment to go out there on your own without anything the that kind of back you. And the good thing about me, fortunately, I had a solid home environment,
Hmm.
so like I don't mind staying at home with my parents and stuff like that, and it just kind of eases the things. Like how our dynamic works, it's very comfortable, and we kind of cover different things, so it allows a lot more relaxing, a lot more wealth, and a lot more different finances to go different ways. Um, Saving is a good thing. For me personally, I didn't necessarily like save. I did try my best. It's just kind of like I'm not a person who really needs everything.
Okay.
Like I
Hmm.
didn't want this and want that. Like
Hmm.
I would get like major things and I'd just be fine. And I just work, and just do my
Right.
own thing. And I was just I'm not a very expensive person.
Hmm.
Like I'm
Hmm.
not really buying the latest things, dropping 4,000, 5 on the most random stuff.
Hmm.
I just kind of get one thing and I kind of stick with it. So it kind of helped. So when I made my decision to leave my job, it wasn't like a 12-month plan. It was kind of okay, I need to do things, and then like start moving from that on. Like I had actually about like a month to start saving. Like I saved like an extra 1,000 from my
Hmm.
job,
Okay.
but like nothing really like pre-planned, and I kind of fortunately had that savings. If I was going to do what I was doing now, honestly, and knew beforehand, I probably would have saved a lot more.
Yeah. You would have
But
been more intentional about it. You probably would have said, okay, this is my budget for the month. I'm going to make sure that I don't go over that budget. I'm
right.
living at home, so it makes it a lot easier to stay within a budget.
Mm,
And if necessary, if you wanted to work some overtime just to hurry up and get that savings, built up faster, you could have done that.
right.
But overall, I mean, you still did a fantastic job of saving. I mean,
Thank you.
there are some adults out there who don't even have 1 month of living expenses,
Right. Right.
in the bank. And that's something that I aim to change. And that's the reason that I started this channel, is because I wanted to help people understand the importance of saving. Because when you save, it gives you opportunities to be able to invest.
Right.
And so for you, you decided you wanted to try, real estate as an entrepreneurial path.
Hmm.
And so wholesaling, I think right now is what you're mainly focusing on, because with wholesaling, you really literally don't need any money to get into wholesaling. And it is a way, like you said, for you to, you picked my brain a little bit, because I'm a realtor, and you asked, okay, so how do I do a market analysis? How do I find out, what the end value is? Because that is important when you're wholesaling.
Right.
When you're bringing a property to an investor that you want that investor to purchase, they're going to ask you certain questions.
Hmm.
What is the after repair value? The after repair value is what the home will sell for once the home has been fully renovated and is on the market. It's being put back on the market for a homeowner to purchase. So that's
Hmm.
very important. If you're off $20,000, $30,000, I mean that could make or break a deal,
Right.
seriously.
Yeah.
And
And a lot of wholesalers nowadays don't actually understand the type of costs that go into
yes.
these different things and whatnot. I've noticed that myself. Fortunately, I did come across a mentor that actually educated me into different things, and I'm a person that likes to like do my best and analyze things fully. I don't just kind of wing stuff.
Mhm.
So it just kind of like pairs perfectly with my personality. So like
Mhm.
I like to work with people, and I'm not really a person to like try to screw people over
Right.
in that sense. Where there's a lot of people who just are out there just to get the money and get
Yeah.
out, which I can't fathom. Makes
Yeah.
sense to other people, but just not me. So
Exactly.
as me coming in here, it allows me to like understand more and just like understand like the grasp, like the entirety of real estate in general. And one thing, even though it's about finances, wholesaling as well, it allows you to understand like all the businesses like core stuff. Because once you like understand like the the innovators side, or not innovators, or fixers, for lack of better words, I apologize,
Mhm.
side of things and what they have to account for in costs, you can transfer that in all aspects of real estate because that's pretty much the core of real estate. And then everybody else has their own like specialized and niches. Like if you were to like investor or be like a hard money lender as well. You got to know the prices and costs of that as
Yes.
well to know if it's a good fund or not. If you're
Mhm.
buying and holding, is this like a profit investment to get your money back? It just encompasses everything. So.
Yeah. And like you said, once you become a real estate investor and you understand what the after repair value is of the home, then you understand what you can afford to purchase that home for. Also, you have to calculate the renovation costs. The renovation costs, man, I tell you, that gets a lot of investors,
Hmm.
especially new investors.
Right.
There may be, like you said, additional costs that you as a brand new person, as a fix and flipper, might not know. I know I ran into my share of mistakes. I mean, there was one time that I lost $30,000 on an investment, and ouch, I don't want to ever do that again.
Right. Yeah.
And you've asked me to mentor you sometimes, and anytime you have a question, I'm always readily available to answer, because the thing is, having a mentor helps you to catapult to where you want to be a lot faster. You don't have to lose 30,000 like I did.
Hmm.
You don't have to make some of the same mistakes I made and some of the other investors out there have made. So, yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship is great, but also having a mentor before you actually, I would say, jump into the frying pan.
Right. Right.
So once you kind of analyze, you went to what, about 3 or 4 meetings before you decided, well, maybe I'll settle on wholesaling as opposed to jumping right into fixing
Right.
and flipping.
Yeah, it was pretty much the entirety of the month of September was kind of like my back-to-back RIA meetings, and
Uh
I
huh.
and I was like trying to learn as much as possible, seeing different perspectives, and just seeing what would work for me and like what direction to go, and the different personalities, because meet a lot of different people who went about different ways, different opinions.
Right.
You can't do that, you can do that, back and forth, and you get to cross-reference that and see what jives with you and what helps you go in that direction, pretty much.
You're right. You're right. Because everybody, you have to create your own path. No one can tell you exactly what your path to success will be. My path to success was one way, yours will be another.
Hmm.
And for the viewers out there, you may take a different path to acquire the wealth that you intend to acquire. But it is beneficial to listen to information from other people, look at the pros and cons of every aspect of the different areas of real estate that you can invest in, and then decide for yourself, okay, this is more like the path that is comfortable for me. This is more of the path that I feel jives with me, or I'm really interested in.
Hmm.
I do like fixing and flipping, but I also like being a private money lender because it has far less work associated with it.
Right.
I enjoy watching other people turn ugly projects or ugly homes into beautiful projects. And then virtually, I didn't have to lift a finger to do it, and I can still enjoy it from a distance.
Hmm.
But as a private money lender, you need to have tens of thousands of dollars in the bank, so you have to work up to that point. So if you're just getting into real estate, a new entrepreneur, wholesaling is definitely one of the ways to get into it. If you have a mentor who is willing to walk you through your first fix and flip step by step, which is something I'm willing to do when you're ready,
Hmm.
or like you said, the next fix and flip that I decide to do, you learn from me. I definitely think that that's the right approach. If you're brand new in any industry, you need to find a mentor and you follow that mentor. And You learn how to do things right the first time because mistakes are very costly. And for some of you out there, you might be thinking, well, I can't afford a mentor. Well, in a lot of cases, you don't think you can, but you can. If back, what, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, if I had hired a mentor when I first got into real estate, I likely would not have lost $30,000.
Hmm.
I would have gladly, if I could go back in time and pay a mentor five or $10,000 to teach me how to do things the right way, look at how much more money I would have saved. So hiring a mentor is absolutely necessary, and you absolutely can't afford not to hire a mentor. So another thing that I do is financial coaching. And, because we have such a great relationship,
Hmm.
at any time, if you need any financial advice, which right now I think you're doing great, you're doing excellent. But if you ever need any financial advice, I'm here. And I'm here for my viewers. Again, I'm a financial coach. And if you think that, maybe I'm not in a position where I want to be financially, I'd like to hire Sharnella to help me with regards to learning how to budget your finances more, how to get out of debt, how to save and invest. Maybe you in the future you want to invest in real estate. I can help you in that endeavor as well. So if you need me as a coach, you want me as your coach, just send me an email, Sharnella at sharnellaclark.com. And there's something else though before we end this interview.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
No, no, no. In the day and age that we're in right now,
Hmm.
I know there's been a lot of talk about AI, and I know you're not really focused more on the job industry, but what are your concerns, if any, that you have about AI? Do you feel any threat being an entrepreneur, pursuing the real estate industry?
Well, with anything can be used in like a double-edged sword. It can be used for good or used for evil.
Mm-hmm.
AI has a big potential to just kind of go in any type of different directions.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely going to be the next thing in the future, whether we like it or not. It's one of
Mm-hmm.
those big changes
Yes.
that we're gonna have to cope with. In terms of like entrepreneur and stuff like that, um, AI can be trained by anybody into anything
Mm-hmm.
because so it's like literally it's an open book, and I'm not versed enough in AI and everything going on to really give like a educated opinion
Mm-hmm.
about like where AI is going. I'm completely just observing and spectating. There's a lot of tech people out there that's trying to go in there and learn AI,
Mm-hmm.
understand it, and there's like another rat race for AI. And salute to them, whoever gets that first. But in terms of AI and the real estate sphere and entrepreneurial stuff, um, all I can say is literally AI. Its whole bit thing is it being trained and trained off of other people. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and be like, "Hey, oh, we're perfectly fine." It's literally up in the air. It could definitely be used against. It could definitely slow things down in terms of jobs because it can filter through things. AI is being used right now and used in different things. It's being used in like resumes to filter through things and different decisions and stuff like that. So AI can literally go in any
Yeah.
direction. So it's something you definitely want to pay attention to. Don't ignore it. Don't put the cover your head and be like, I'm not gonna ignore AI because it's still gonna happen whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
might as well be educated enough, know about it, so you can know what's going on, so it doesn't blindside you. You can still do what you're on. You can still have your preference of not using AI, because everybody has their own directions of what they can do things, and don't let anybody tell you what you can and can't do because literally there'll be probably people out there that'll be like, you gotta focus on AI, you gotta do this, or AI is you can't stop it. Do whatever you're gonna do, and just be willing to adapt to whatever is coming
Yeah.
because everything's moving, everything changes. Just like every 10 years, a new generation, a new thing. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep your eyes on it, be abreast about it, and don't doubt what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my unofficial opinions right now. So,
My opinion of it, being in real estate, I don't see right now how it can really hinder us as real estate investors. I really see it as a tool that we can use to improve.
mhm,
And I'll be honest with you, in the beginning, when I first heard about AI, I mean, AI has been around a long time, and I just never really paid much attention to it until
mhm,
most recently.
all right,
And I think that being a realtor, it definitely, as far as um, improving how I my description of homes, it can definitely help. Yes, I have a bachelor degree in, I do have a bachelor degree, and English was one of my favorite topics.
Hmm.
But and I'm a pretty good writer because I wrote my book, but I still,
Buy the book.
thank you. I still think that AI can definitely help with descriptions, with real estate, so that once the home is renovated and it's going onto the market, it can help boost that description.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see AI as a hindrance as far as the buying, renovating, and selling process. Uh, for young people out there, if you're not sure if you want to go to college, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you want to learn a trade, I think that you will have a job for a very long time. Um, Investors right now, it's very difficult to find good tradesmen. And as the tradesmen that are working now, as they begin to retire, we're going to need, a lot of tens of thousands of tradesmen um, to bridge that gap,
Right.
to
Right.
make up for what we're losing. So in that aspect, I don't see AI being able to replace jobs in the trades.
Mm-hmm.
With every investment property that I've ever flipped and the ones that I loan money on, they all need an electrician.
Right.
They all need a plumber. They need, most of the time, a roofer. They need someone who does sidewalk repair, brick repair, sometimes brick mason, so a gardener. So those are jobs that AI right now, I don't think there's a threat
Mm-hmm.
at all. And they're actually well paying, jobs,
Right.
careers.
Yeah.
And it can lead also to entrepreneurship, because if you start off as an electrician working for someone else, or a plumber, or even a painter,
Mm-hmm.
in time, as you develop those skills, you can then branch off and start your own business.
Right. Right.
And if you get in good with an investor who flips like 10, 15, 20 homes a year,
Mm-hmm.
then you can have consistent work.
Right.
So I think more people should try their hand at entrepreneurship, especially since um, AI may be phasing out, or I should say will be phasing out some tech jobs and maybe engineering jobs, as I've been hearing lately. But I really thank you for your time. I've just got one more thing to ask
Of
you.
course.
Um, so I like the fact that you're staying home. For any young person right now that's saying, okay, I finished college, um, I want to go out and buy the brand new car, I want to go get an apartment, I want to buy all those things that, have been on my mind, that, I want to purchase because I deserve it. I've gone to school for 4 years or 6 years, whatever it is. I'm just ready to live my life and go on. In my perspective, I think if they're smart and they have the family dynamic that would allow it, they should go back home and save. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
My opinion on that is look at what you have non-negotiable first
Hmm.
before you look at your wants. Like look at what's going to show up and take from you, regardless if you want to or not. And then after you realize and you account for that, then you go for your wants. So
Hmm.
like staying home and save, that's a viable idea. You can do that. It makes money or it helps you save money, reduce your costs and stuff. But if you have the math centered, and you have everything calculated and stuff, and you know how much you need, whatever, don't be afraid to do it. Just make sure you account for the stuff you need to do first before you do like your wants and it comes out like a surprise. Because a lot of people buy what they want first and buy different things that have nothing to do. And I mean, like seriously, like what was going to be non-negotiable, like what's going to take out of your bank account whether you want to or not. So instead of like what you need, like you don't need a $600 flower garden, in the back to fix that up. You don't need to redo like this thing here and there. You gotta look at what's gonna be there that you have covered first before you add extra things onto it, because those things that you do first are not gonna go away. Because if you buy this, you're still gonna have to pay this rather than paying this, and then you can still put this off and do or put the 600 flower bed off later. You don't have to do all that. So my biggest thing is like focus on what's gonna take your money first, account for that,
Hmm.
and then go for it. And then when you do that, you should be fine. You should be able to do whatever you want. Everything should be managed, and you won't get blindsided and suddenly be $2,000 behind on your rent and have to go back to your parents, you know. So
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, just to recap on what you said, when a lot of young people get out on their own for the first time, they really don't anticipate the cost. It's not just your rent, your utilities. Um, as far as taxes go, uh, you have you have to pay income tax, and so your check isn't necessarily going to be as high as you think it is once you start earning a real income. So you have to consider, what is your income after all your taxes are paid, after your rent is paid, your utilities. Also, what goes into moving out on your own
mhm.
is you have to buy furniture. Most young people don't think about that.
Right.
You have to buy dishes, you have to buy all your toiletries, your cleaning supplies, everything that you need, a vacuum cleaner, a broom, a dustpan, whatever it is you decide to do. So all these little expenses, they add up, and young people don't really realize that until they start in the process. Then all of a sudden, what should have been a small budget becomes an out of control, overinflated budget.
Mhm.
So, like you said, you got to consider your necessities first. What are my necessary expenses first? And most young people coming out of college right now are anywhere between, 20 to 100, $150,000 in debt. You have to look at your student loan debt and how much that's going to cost every month.
Right.
So, and I'm always an advocate of when it comes to a vehicle, buying used. So when you finish school, don't go out and buy that brand new vehicle for $60,000 and commit yourself to a huge car payment.
And plus, it depreciates anyway, so it's not really
Exactly.
worth it, especially in this market.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you're like, by the time you drive off the lot, you already lost $10,000. So
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, again, it was nice to connect with you again, and I
mhm.
thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you.
I do want to say one thing, one
Okay.
more thing here.
Okay.
One good cheat code is look if you want to do something, right? Look at what somebody's doing first and then see what they're doing. So if you want to move out, or if you want the car, or you want stuff like that, look at somebody else who has the things that you want and see what they're doing, you know. And now that you know like what you need to do to get there, or even like surpass them, so like that. So like if you want to go out and live by yourself, if you have friends that go out or are living by themselves currently, go and talk to them. It's like, hey, what do you pay? What do you do? What's your like necessities and stuff like that? And then like you think about yourself, like what do you use day to day? And then once you factor that in, that'll make it a whole lot easier rather than overthinking about, oh, I need this, I need that, and need this. Because in reality, you probably need a lot less than you actually think you need. So,
Exactly. That's true. That is definitely true. So. Okay, thanks again. And thank you all for watching Financial Fix with Charnella. If you like the content on my channel, please like and subscribe. See you on the next episode.
see ya.